recording now, and here we go.
WOTW HD2 Windermere, Bud 94.1. From the attorneys Justin Clark and Associates YouHavePower.com studios, this is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
And welcome to the program, and thank you for joining me for another edition of Behind the Law with Justin Clark. I'm here to answer any legal question that you may have, anything from accident to zonings. Dial up the phones 321-282-1055. Plenty of information on the website, www.youhavepower.com. Plenty of ways to interact with the show. You can watch it on Facebook Live anytime or watch any past episodes if you have any questions about anything we've talked about, or any social media platform, really, at ATTY Justin Clark. If you have any direct question for me, you can go to the website, youhavepower.com, and you can even chat with me. Go to the bottom left of the page, click on my little face there, and something pops up, and it actually goes right to my cell phone.
What, a Jack in the Box?
I get in trouble for it sometimes. You know, it'll be like midnight, and she's like, who's texting at this hour? I'm like, oh, someone just has a question about their debt.
You know what else
No
I
big
noticed,
deal. What's that?
Justin, is on the Facebook feed here. How come your head is so big?
Because, dude, I'm the star of the show. I don't know. What do you expect? Behind the Wall with Mick Dolan, then we'll put you up front.
Golly.
Joining me as always, he's already introduced himself today, is Orlando radio legend Mick Dolan. Mick, what's up, brother? How are you?
I'm just getting ready for tonight, buddy.
Yeah, tell me about that, by the way.
Yeah, big event. Actually, because this show was Saturday, it's aired, so it'll be last night.
Okay.
West End Trading Company, Grow Your Own Festival for Arbor Day.
Sweet.
Lots of live bands, local bands, and it's all free. Hey, it was good.
Good deal. And from our sister station right next door, 103.1 The Wolf, it's Skid.
Yes,
What up?
unlike Mick, our Facebook fans can't see us,
Yeah.
and that's totally cool. I mean, you know, I'm like the Wizard of Oz.
There you
Pay no
go.
attention to the man behind the
Pay
curtain.
no attention.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
A very special show for you today. And again, if you have any questions, 321-282-1055. This is Behind the Law with me, attorney Justin Clark. We're going to talk all things insurance today. We talk about personal injury sometimes in the show, and I always say, get that insurance. We're really going to talk about what insurance you need to buy, how much to pay for it, life insurance, all sorts of different options when it comes to insurance today. But I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Bill Cosby for a second, you know, because that verdict came out earlier this week. I wanted to just mention something to you. Because I think there's this dichotomy in our heads. We know someone did something really bad, but it still kind of hurts thinking that a really old person is going to jail.
Right.
But it made me think a little bit, too. This guy, allegedly, was out dating girls. The only way he was getting girls is by drugging them, right? I mean, it seemed like every single person he met, he slipped them drugs and then did whatever he wanted to do to them. I mean, I have zero sympathy for that. This has nothing to do with the Me Too movement or any of this crap. This is, do you know how many times I went out on dates and walked away empty-handed, so to speak? I could have given them drugs,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I could have gotten lucky probably, but no, I took defeat. Right? I accepted defeat when I was in high school.
I never
Hey,
looked at it that way.
Hey, you didn't have his type of money either.
I had no money.
Yeah.
Money helps.
I have people come up to me and say, you know, I'm glad he was guilty, but I hope he doesn't do any jail time. Hell no. Put the man in jail.
80
I
years old.
agree with this verdict. I mean, look,
The
one
lawyer
person
who cares.
accuses you, one person accuses you, okay.
Yeah, but
20, and he even, I believe, admitted to doing, you know, a little something here and there, right?
Yeah.
So my advice would be, as you come to grips with this verdict, don't think, I just hate to see an old person go to jail. The guy dated by giving people drugs. I mean, that's how he got lucky.
He bought it. Yeah.
You would think with that. And first of all, look, I wasn't a Cosby fan anyway. I didn't even really like his comedy that much. Certainly didn't watch his show all that much. Yeah, it wasn't my thing. So maybe I'm coming from a different mental space than some people. I wasn't a huge Cosby fan, but I think the guy deserves to spend significant time in prison. That's just how I feel. Mick, I want to hear your opinion on this.
Well, yeah, I think
You can disagree with me, by the way.
That's right, and you're a lawyer, so I got to be careful. But
Practicing.
seriously, though, he was a legend. He did a lot. He made a lot of people feel good. His TV persona did, and his comedy act. But he was wrong.
Yeah.
He's a monster. Yeah.
Skid. And you can disagree?
Actually, I'm a huge Cosby fan. I
Really?
actually sat
in the studio audience for the Cosby
my
Show
gosh.
for one of their episodes.
Really?
Oh yeah, and I
All
did
right.
like a fake laugh in the background so you can hear my voice. It's funny because I'll watch that
Applause.
episode because that's me.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you. I mean, it's despicable.
He's got to do some
Yeah.
time. And he went off on the prosecution and all that in the courtroom after the sentence. And
Yeah.
just showed his ass real bad.
Unbelievable.
So
It's amazing his wife stuck by him through all this.
Yes.
But I mean,
Yes.
yeah, I guess that's the one thing he has going for him. But I hope he gets prison time. Maybe not die there. But you know what? I've also noticed people like him who have sort of had everything for most of their life. It seems like once they get, if he's going to get locked up for a significant period of time, probably dies pretty quickly in there. You know,
Yeah.
he probably just mentally can't take it.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. But welcoming a good friend to my program today. He is the owner of I Know We Insurance. In my opinion, the best insurance brokerage in all of Central Florida. All right. I Know We Insurance. His name is Ray Powers. Ray, what's up, my friend? How are you? Thanks for coming in.
Hey, Justin.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you.
letting me.
So you know everything about insurance, and it struck me that I need to get you in here because a lot of the conversations that we have on this program, especially when we talk about personal injury, involve insurance. And then a lot of what I do as well is deal with people's debt. And unfortunately, people die. So people come to my office all the time and they say, look, my husband died or my wife died and they've left me all of this IRS debt. What do I do? Or they've left me this house payment and I have no earthly idea how I'm going to make this payment on just my Social Security now. I mean, this is a big problem, especially when you have a lot of debt and you lose your spouse and you lose that income. It's what do you do? And I see families going through this all the time. And then one of my questions always is, well, did he have a life insurance policy? Or, well, did your wife have a life insurance policy before she passed? And they're like, well, we did, but I think it might have expired, or maybe I didn't make the payment, so I don't really know. It strikes me that there are two types of life insurance that most consumers are offered, right?
Correct.
And what are these two types of life insurance policies, and what are the differences?
Permanent insurance and term insurance. So term insurance, life insurance is designed for a specific period of time, primarily like when you have kids in the house or you have a mortgage, or it's designed to cover you while you've got a specific need for a period of time. The permanent insurance, I mean, it's there with you and it pays when you die. I mean, it's there until you die. That's designed for down the road when you're elderly, and it's really necessary, covering last expenses and medical bills and funeral expenses. And it's also something you should do when you're younger because it gets cost prohibitive as you get older.
I know there's more information about this on the website as well. So if anyone's listening and you want to get real specific information, how do they find out more about I Know We Insurance, and how do they find out more about life insurance in general?
They can go to the website at iknowwe.com. And
Phone number?
Phone number. The Eustis office
Go ahead.
is 352-483-9351.
I notice you have offices in Maitland, in Eustis, in Mineola, but I mean, can you service people everywhere, or is this like you have to be living in those little cities?
No, we can service anybody in the state of Florida. All of our agents are licensed in Florida. In fact, we have a lot of clients all over the state. So we would be glad to help anybody.
So you talk about we're talking about life insurance. How much do we need? How much does it cost? Does it last forever? Does it go away? And you're telling me there are two types. One is term, and one is this, you call it permanent. Is that what I hear? Whole life?
Whole life,
Is that the permanent or no?
Permanent encompasses several different types, but yes, whole life, the word universal life, adjustable premium life, all of them are designed to stay with you until you die.
can you borrow off those?
You can borrow off of those type policies. They also can build up a cash accumulation for you. There are now policies that are designed to not build up cash, but to be there until they'll extend to age 120, which we're not there yet. Not many people make it to 120. I think the oldest person in the world just died at age 117 or something.
Yeah, right.
So there's variations out there now that can help anybody.
I think about it much like health insurance in a way. You know how some health insurance policies are, you'll hear them say catastrophic. Like, oh, I mean, if you have something really, really bad happen, it's going to cover it. But if you're going to the doctor, you're paying out of pocket, like a catastrophic insurance.
Right.
I think of term life insurance for someone my age. I'm 38 years old. I think of it more as like a catastrophic thing. I mean, you're going to pay not a huge premium every month, but I know if something really tragic happens to me, catastrophic happens to me, that's going to cover my family now. And I'm pretty young, so it's pretty cheap. So I think of term as more of a catastrophic stuff. But then keep in mind, those premiums can change as you go along, correct?
They can and do, depending on the type of policy. But most term policies, if you look at the correct one, can be switched over to a permanent policy at somewhere in the future. But you can fall into the trap. For instance, if you get one that's 20 years as a level, you pay the same price, same amount of money for 20 years. At 21 years, it can skyrocket, and you can get into a problem. All term insurance, one of two things happen. It can get where you can't afford it, and you outlive it.
All right, so let's say I come to your office. I'm 38 years old, Justin Clark, right? I walk in, hey, Ray Powers at I Know We Insurance. I need life insurance. I need a term policy. I'm not looking at like this investment in the whole life thing. I just want a term life insurance policy.
Just to be sure.
And I want $500,000. What would be, and I know you can't quote exact rates or anything. I just want to get an idea. What would that policy cost me per year, per month on average? Throw something against the wall here. I know it's not exact. I'm not holding you to this. I just want to know how much it's going to cost me.
At your age, I mean, we like to say you can kind of buy it, depending on the policy, for $1 a day. So, somewhere $30 a month, probably, depending on your health, up to $50.
What happens if I check the I'm not a smoker box? All right, because I imagine, I'm just assuming, I shouldn't assume, but I imagine there's a box that says smoker or non-smoker, right?
That's correct.
And I click non-smoker. But then 2 years later, I'm diagnosed with lung cancer. And you see in the medical records that I say to my doctor, I've been smoking. How will a life insurance company typically handle that sort of thing?
Most of them, after 2 years, it doesn't matter. Oh. There's a 2-year incontestability clause. So after 2 years, it doesn't matter. If it happens during that time, they normally would go back and change the rate to tobacco and deduct that from the death proceeds. It doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to pay. They would just change the rate.
So for about $500,000 in coverage, if you're a 38-year-old guy like me or somewhere around that age, I mean, maybe $1 a day. I mean, that's pretty good to know that if something were to happen to you catastrophically, you're going to have your family at least have some money to pay the mortgage, pay off whatever debts that you have. So life insurance is something we definitely need to look at. We're going to talk about many other types of life insurance as well on the other side of this break. My name is Justin Clark. The show is Behind the Law. Any questions? 321-282-1055. Be right back on Bud 94.1. Welcome back to the program. My name is Justin Clark. The name of the show, Behind the Law, right here on my favorite radio station, Bud 94.1. Sitting here with Mick Dole and Skid from 103.1. The Wolf is pushing the buttons today, and we're talking all things insurance. How does that relate to law, you say? This is Behind the Law. What does insurance have to do with law? A lot. I mean, half of my practice is dealing with insurance, and I see the policies that people get and the mistakes that they make. So I have Ray Powers, who's a good friend of mine and the owner of I Know We Insurance. More information at iknowwe.com or iknowweinsurance.com as well. If you have any questions about any of your insurance stuff, please go there. There's plenty of information on the website, or just call their office. What's the number again?
352-483-9351.
Even if you just want someone to review your policies, I always say that once a year, you need to go in and review all of your insurance policies, because inevitably, insurance companies are businesses, Mick. You know what I mean? They're trying to make money. They're trying to take your money in, invest it, build big buildings, and then pay out as little as they can. I mean, that's what they do. That's what an insurance company really is. So
they're improving the financial instrument here.
yeah, exactly,
Yes,
right.
yeah.
And so you need to go back in and look at your policies every year. And if you want to have free review, the people at I Know We Insurance would be more than happy to do so. iknowwe.com. We're talking about life insurance first. We're going to get to UM and umbrella policy and how much you should pay for your car, etc. a little bit later. But we're talking about insurance this segment. We talked about term. Term insurance is that type of insurance that you pay for every year, basically, but it only lasts a certain amount of time, meaning you're not investing. It's not going into an account that you can get when you retire, right?
Correct.
So if I come to your office and I buy this policy, $500,000 in coverage, $1 a day, great. But when does that run out? When do I not get afforded that coverage anymore?
Depends on the type of the policy. I mean, you can have 10-year level, 20-year, 30. Some of them will actually quit after that period of time, which, if you have a health issue, if you have a 20-year level term policy at 19 years and 11 months, you get diagnosed with something really bad, you got a problem because you may not be able to replace it. And the other issue is it can skyrocket at the 20-year level. So it's always advisable to look at switching it over to something that is a level cost at some time before you as you get older, the more it costs. So if you switch it over to a level cost policy, then you've got life insurance. So term, you just have to remember that when you have it. It's great for young people starting off and have a mortgage and 4 kids.
Because it's cheap. Number
It's
one,
cheap.
it's cheap. So and it you can get a lot of coverage for a small amount of money. But
correct.
this is not investing, so to speak.
That's
when you
correct.
hear about, you should invest in life insurance, this is not that. This is a catastrophic insurance policy essentially for you. But here's what I want to know. So I'm 38, come in, get this $500,000 policy, and it cost me $1 a day year one. How much does it cost year two? Is it the same, or is it like this is the price for the first 5 years? How does that normally work?
Again, you can adjust it, but yes, it's the same. If you get a 20-year level, then that $1 a day is the same for 20 years. If it's a 10-year policy, then the same for 10 years.
Then you have to renew after that.
Then some of them automatically renew, but the cost is adjusted to your age at the end of that period of time, and that's when people get into a problem. They can't afford it, and they drop it, and sometimes that's at a real bad time in life. But it is something that you can count on being a level cost for a period of time.
I highly recommend life insurance. If you have questions about it, please go to iknowweinsurance.com. Call Ray Powers. He's happy to talk to you. It's not like a consultation fee. If you have questions about insurance, just give them a call. They'll go through all the different options that you have. So as a young person, when you first might make a couple bucks and you first go see a financial advisor, you're like, wow, I finally have $10 in the account. I want to go earn some interest on it. And you go talk to that financial advisor, you expect them to say, oh, we should buy some stocks or some bonds or mutual funds. And then they say, and let's buy life insurance. You're like, what the hell are you talking about, life insurance? How is life insurance an investment? That's confusing to people at the beginning. People don't understand how life insurance is an investment. And I think that's exactly what a whole life policy sometimes operates as, correct? An investment. Can you explain that to me?
That is correct. They build up a cash value within the policy, depending on the type policy. But they essentially, you put money in the policy and they pull out the cost of the life insurance, and the remainder stays in there as an investment and builds up over a period of time. And you can get the money out without filling out a 10-page loan application. You basically make a phone call and say, I need to pull out so much money, and the check's put in the mail. Most of them, you can opt to not even pay it back. It may affect the policy. It may reduce the death benefits. And if you want to pay it back, then everything goes back to normal. But it doesn't matter about credit. It doesn't matter about any of that with that type of life insurance policy. You need the money, you get it.
All right, so I go into my insurance agent or my financial planner, whoever's selling me this whole life policy. I say, look, I don't want a term policy. I need a whole life insurance policy. How do you price that? I mean, do I pay a certain amount per month? Can I put however much I want in there? How does the pricing work?
On a whole life policy, it's a level cost, so much a month, and most of them you can't increase the amount that's going in. That's one form of permanent insurance, but an adjustable or the old term universal, those are designed for you to be able to contribute extra money in, again, to build up a reserve or an investment, and then if you need to get it out for whatever reason, you can get it out.
All right, take me through this. I want to make sure I understand. So I come in, I'm 40 years old, and I say I want a whole life policy. And you say, okay, great. And I want $1 million whole life policy. The life insurance company then is going to quote me sort of a yearly rate, and that's what I have to pay for the policy. And then when I pay that money, it kind of goes into an account, or how so let's say this. Let's say I go get a mutual fund, Mick, right? I know I'm going to put $10,000 into this mutual fund. I understand that. And it's going to go up or down, right? Hopefully it goes up. Maybe it goes down. And every year I'm going to go, oh, we made 8% this year. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Is that how the whole life policy works, or is it different?
It's a little bit different because you put $10,000 into a mutual fund and you die, your heir is going to get $10,000 plus whatever interest it earned. If you put in $1 million, permanent or whole life insurance costs more than term. So if you put the same 10 into that policy, then they're going to get $1 million. Instead of 10. And that's one of the blessings. And it's also, to the beneficiary, it's tax-free. And it goes directly to them. It
without a will, without
anything.
Yeah.
It's whoever you listed as the beneficiary, they're going to get the money. And
how do you determine the cash value? I think that's what I want to know. Like how do I put, so there's a certain premium every month that I have to pay for the $1 million probably, right? Is there a certain premium attached to that? And then can I pay extra and it goes into this account, or?
That's when you're getting into the flexible or adjustable side of a life insurance policy. And that's correct. If you can envision, there's so much going to go in to cover the death benefit out of what you put in, and the remainder is going to go into an investment account, if you want to call it that grows. And that is the constant is how much it costs for the life insurance side. So whatever extra you want to put in there goes into the investment side, and that grows.
That is Ray Powers from I Know We Insurance. IKnowWeInsurance.com. We're talking about life insurance. My name is Justin Clark. You're listening to Behind the Law. Any questions that you may have, 321-282-1055. Plenty of information on our website as well. www.youhavepower.com. We're talking about whole life insurance policies right now. I hate to do it to you. I'm 40 years old. I come in and I want $1 million whole life insurance policy, right? Mm-hmm. Any idea typical cost for me?
38.
Sorry.
I mean, you actually you're in pretty good health. A million.
What do you mean pretty good? Whoa, time out. Whoa. Time, stop the clock.
He just diagnosed you?
Yeah, what's wrong with me? Hey, man.
When you're in sales, you never go for the best.
Right.
You gotta soften it up a little bit, okay?
Understood.
Just in case, all right? So
Justin. Okay.
So for $1 million, I mean, you're probably looking somewhere around, we've been talking about $500,000. So
let's go back to $500,000 then. $60. So it's
$30 would be an attainable thing for you.
And then does that fee go up yearly? So I'm buying a whole life insurance policy for $500,000, say, all right, and the average is going to be $60 a month. Does then that go up after a few years as I get older?
That would not go up.
No? Okay.
But to make it do like you're talking about as an investment, you would probably need to put more money in it for the investment side outside of the insurance side.
All right. Here is the most important question to me. You might know what I'm going to ask, but first of all, I bought my life insurance from him. So I was like, dude, are you really going to send a nurse into my office with a needle and take my blood? Please answer that for me.
No, we wouldn't do that.
Oh.
And we didn't do that because some people have an adverse reaction to needles. Not to mention anybody, but sometimes that's a problem.
I just didn't want like someone coming to my office with a needle. It freaked me out. I don't know. So I was like, all right, so how much is it if I give you the blood? How much is it if I don't give you the blood? And it's a little bit more, right?
It's a little bit more because they don't have as much underwriting information to work off of, but it's not a lot more. I mean, I think it was like 10% or something.
Let's say that you rear end someone. You're driving down Interstate 4. Have you seen these on-ramps, by the way? I mean, these
they're
are just
wonderful,
downright
aren't they?
dangerous.
Maitland's
I mean,
crazy.
the one in Maitland is going to kill somebody.
It is. It's bad.
And I mean, we have truckers flying down there, and
It's
you
awful.
have to get on in 2 seconds. Someone is going to die right there. But let's say you're the person that hits them, right? You are the one that hits someone, God forbid, and they die, and they're going to come sue you, and they're going to take everything you have. How do you prevent a huge lawsuit against you? Right on the other side of this break, Justin Clark with you on Behind the Law on Bud 94.1. Welcome back to Behind the Law with me, attorney Justin Clark, right here on Bud 94.1. Thank you for spending just a small portion of your weekend with me. If you have any questions whatsoever about any legal issue, 321-282-1055, www.youhavepower.com. That is youhavepower.com. You can watch the show live on Facebook or any social media platform at ATTY. Justin Clark, I'm here with Orlando radio legend Mick Dolan. As always, Mick, how are you, buddy? I forgot to tell you, thank you so much for coming out to that event with me the other weekend. That was so nice of you.
My pleasure.
And we had a great time.
And we did a lot of good work.
The whole Bud 94.1.
Awareness.
The whole Bud 94.1 crew was out there. It was a great event. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Skid is here from next door neighbor 103.1 The Wolf. Hi, Skid. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Thank you. And I have my good friend and the owner of I Know We Insurance. His name is Ray Powers. Ray, thanks for making the quick little commute over here from Eustis.
Yeah, it was quick.
It's quick with a helicopter.
That's right.
Yeah, really.
That's right.
In a car, not quite as much. But that brings me to the question, if you were coming over here in a car, right? And God forbid you were to rear end someone, right? I mean, look, the interstates, with the construction that we have, especially in Maitland, we were talking about it before the break, they have these on-ramps that are about 10 feet long now, and we have huge trucks flying down the interstate, people trying to get onto the interstate. God forbid you hit someone and you kill them. I mean, they could go hire someone like me and literally sue you for every single thing that you have. If you didn't mean to hurt them, you're already broken up that you had this accident. Yeah. But now to add insult to injury to you, you're worried about them taking everything you've worked so hard for your entire life. They can get into your bank account. They get this judgment against you. I mean, if you kill someone, you're talking about $3, $4, $5 million judgment it could be against you. That's probably more money than you have in the bank. And make no mistake, look, your house is protected. There are certain things you can protect, retirement accounts, 401ks, that sort of thing. But just cash sitting in the bank or investment properties, these could be up for grabs if you get a judgment like this against you. And we don't want that. We've worked hard our whole lives and we want to protect our money. And if you were to get sued, they could come take it. That's why we have this little thing that we all complain about it called insurance, right? That's why we have this motor vehicle insurance. Ray, tell me about the typical policies that you see for car insurance. By typical, I mean, how much coverage do people have?
Well, there's a trend now to not, in my opinion, not have enough. I've been doing this for more than 25 years. And the worst thing that I, as an agent, can hear is an adjuster telling someone, we just paid policy limits. You need to hire an attorney because they're going to come after you. So we see a lot of low liability policies. And I personally believe that's a trend because of the 800 number for insurance companies, because they train people to talk to people about low limits. So, we see a lot of 10-20 limit policies, which means 10,000 per person, 20,000 per accident if you rear into the guy you're talking about. What people don't realize is that 10,000 can just about be seed money for the attorney to come after everything else you have, because you didn't have an insurance policy to protect your assets. It's too much of that, and it's unfortunate when I see someone have that situation.
When he says 10, 20 or 100, 300, everyone who has ever gotten an insurance policy, you've seen these numbers sort of on the bottom. This is the coverage limits, meaning if you were to be in an accident and you injure someone else, this is what the insurance company will sort of step into your place and pay for you. So if it says 100,000 / 300,000, it means for one person, if you injure one person, they will pay up to $100,000. If there are multiple injuries, they will pay up to $300,000 for the entire accident. But let's be honest. I mean, if this is a bad accident, $100,000 is a drop in the bucket when it comes to these medical expenses these days. $100,000 is not going to go that far. So what else can you do to cover yourself, so to speak, to make sure that you don't get this big judgment against you because of this accident that you created? What else can you do? And what I always say to people is an umbrella policy is not that expensive. Can you explain to me, Ray, what an umbrella policy is?
An umbrella is excess insurance over and above your underlying policy, such as your car policy and your homeowner's policy. They trigger once you've like, for instance, your auto policy is paid out its limits, then it gets into the umbrella policy. They are fairly inexpensive because, fortunately, they're not used that often. But when you don't have one, you really wish you had. So the average cost for an umbrella is probably somewhere between $300 and $400 a year. The criteria, though, is your car insurance policy needs to have liability limits sufficient, and most of them require $300,000, $500,000, which again is designed to protect your assets. But the two work together, and if it's properly done, then you don't have to worry as much if you happen to have that accident you're talking about.
So you're recommending instead of 10-20, you have
higher limits.
100.
You should have, depending on your assets. But you should definitely have more than 10-20. That's just not, that doesn't do anything for anybody. But the average family that has a house, a $250,000 house and a couple cars, right away you got a house that's worth $250,000. So, you should have your limits on your car insurance adequate. And the rates, they think, well, my rate's going to go crazy if I go that high. In many cases, the lower limits cost more than the higher limit policy.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So I come to you and look, I have a perfectly clean driving record, okay? And I have a 2015 Honda Accord. And I come to you to get insurance for my motor vehicle. And we're going to look at a few different rates, right? And isn't everything here on 6 months, I believe? Is that what you guys normally look at as?
Pretty much. We have at least one that goes a year.
Okay. Liberty Mutual, isn't it?
AAA, too.
Okay.
So, all right. So I come into I Know We Insurance to talk to Ray Powers to try to get insurance for my car. All right. So we're looking at a 10-20 policy, which we don't recommend ever. Don't get it. But We're looking at a 10-20 versus a 300-500. Okay. Perfectly clean driving record. Give me some sort of average cost difference in a 6-month policy, say. I know it's hard to.
It's really difficult because so many variables go in. But you're, I can just go off of my own insurance. I have higher limits, and it probably costs me an extra $100 every 6 months.
So it's very little to have that
It's
kind of protection.
Compared to the additional insurance, it is very little. And I would want to mention the automobile insurance companies have changed some. So there are actually some of the more preferred companies, such as Travelers, Safeco, that if you come to them with 10-20 limits, they won't insure you until you have a year of higher limits. So you get yourself boxed in, and the lower limit policies, again, can actually cost more. When I say mine's $100 more, it's because I went from 5,100 on up. I would never, because I can't sell what I don't believe in. So I've never had a 10-20 policy in my life. But you have to be careful with being boxed in.
Let me tell you why I buy my insurance from I Know We Insurance. And I didn't know this until recently. Maybe you guys don't, maybe you do, but I'm going to tell you about it right now. It's like this little hidden secret. You drive down the street and you see State Farm and then it has someone's name underneath it, or Allstate, someone's name underneath it. You know how you see all these little insurance places? So these are called captive agencies. Mm-hmm. So you drive down the street, you go to that State Farm, whoever's name underneath, that guy can only sell you State Farm products. This is called a captive insurance agency. All they can do is sell you products for State Farm. Why would we want to do that? Why would we not want to shop it around? I never really understood this captive agency thing that we have going on. So I Know We Insurance is not a captive agency. Explain the difference between the State Farm guy down the street and somewhere like I Know We Insurance.
Well, it's pretty much like you said. State Farm can only sell a State Farm product, where we are appointed with multiple companies, and we can go and, like our top 10 carriers, we can rate you with all 10 of them fairly quick and then see where you fall in there. So we have access to all the major carriers that are in the state of Florida, and it's just there's more options available than a captive agent only basically has one that there is their primary, where we have multiple.
That's why, to me, it's always, at least go to a broker first, someone who can shop it around. It's almost like if you want to invest $1 million somewhere, you don't go to that particular stock and put it all into one stock. You want to go to someone who's going to get paid based on whether it's fee-based or whatever, where they're not getting these big commissions from this one company. They're obviously going to put your money where they're getting the biggest commission. You want to go to someone who's independent when you're investing. It's the same with insurance. You don't want to go to someone who can only sell you one product. It doesn't make any sense. You need to shop it around, or let someone like Ray Powers from I Know We Insurance shop your insurance around. IKnowWeInsurance.com. Phone number again, Ray?
352-483-9351.
So we're talking about what kind of car insurance or how much coverage you should buy. And let me explain it from an attorney perspective. Here's how it really works. Let's say I have a client who comes in and they're very, very, very badly injured, right? And the person who hit my client is someone who has assets. We did a little search. We can find out everything we want about you, unfortunately for you. And we did a search, and you have a lot of assets. But you bought the umbrella policy. So you have the umbrella policy, at least everyone I've ever seen is $1 million. Maybe there are bigger ones, I don't know. But
you can go up to 5.
The normal one I see is $1 million. So right away they have this $1 million umbrella policy plus another $250 or $300 on the underlying policy. So right away there's $1.3 million right there for your client. Most of the time, that's going to be enough where even if the attorney thinks it's a little bit more, they're going to go ahead and say, look, we'll take the 1.25 and all go on our way. So now, well, if your client's dead or your client, can't walk ever again, that's not a whole lot of money. But most of the time that 1.25 or $1.3 million is enough to where you're not going to go after anyone's personal assets. So that's why this umbrella policy, especially if you have, some assets, anything, it doesn't cost that much more, maybe $300 a year to get this extra $1 million of coverage, which is going to make most people covered for forever. It's going to make most of your personal assets sort of untouchable. So we highly recommend these umbrella policies. And that's what Ray Powers from I Know We Insurance says, and it's what Justin Clark says. So please listen to what we have to say. And we have one more segment ahead. We're going to talk about UM coverage and how important that is. right on the other side of this break. Justin Clark with you behind the law, Bud 94.1. Welcome back for one more segment of Behind the Law with me, attorney Justin Clark. 321-282-1055. Website, youhavepower.com. It's youhavepower.com. You can watch the show or any past show live on Facebook or any social media platform at ATTY. Justin Clark. We're talking about all things insurance today with my good friend and the owner of I Know We Insurance, based out of Eustis, Mineola, Maitland, taking over the world at iknowweinsurance.com. You don't have any duck or anything, I notice, huh?
No,
And we're the non-duck, right? We
That's
don't.
correct.
Who needs a duck? I don't. Why do we trust these ducks?
We don't have a
it's
lizard.
amazing.
We don't have a lizard,
lizard.
either.
Who was that late? Flo?
Yes.
Flo from Progressive?
My hero.
It's amazing. It's amazing, right? It's amazing.
She's a comedian.
She's so good.
She is.
But don't buy insurance from them because you need to go through a broker, someone who can shop your insurance around and make sure you're getting the best rates. I think every single year, no matter what, you should absolutely shop around all of your. You know what else you should shop around? Your cell phone carrier. I mean, these cell phone carriers are out of control anymore. If you look at these fees they keep adding on there, it's crazy. I get mad. I mean, it's the one. Look, I'm very okay with my family. You guys spend money. I know that you're not going to go crazy, but when I see that cell phone bill every month for like 2 cell phones, it's ridiculous. No? Anyone else?
No, I
it's
agree with you,
stupid.
but you're going to have more when the kids grow up.
Oh, please.
Think about
Skid.
that.
I was having a good day.
I know.
It's a good thing there's unlimited now.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Yeah,
I
you're
cut
right
mine in
about that.
half.
Oh, yeah?
I switched from.
But that's why, because you shopped it around
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I can get a better deal here. Too bad I've been trying to call you lately and it's not ringing.
well, there's a reason for that.
Oh, I see. You blocked me.
Yeah.
So Ray, we're buying motor vehicle insurance, okay? And we're going to get to UM in a minute. But I'm buying insurance, and I did have an accident last year. But it wasn't my fault. Or at least I think it wasn't my fault. I mean, how does fault and prior accidents, how does that play into the actual rate that you're going to give me?
If you were in an accident and the other party was ticketed,
Yes. That's it.
then that triggers it most of the time not being your fault. If, for instance, you were, let's say, in a parking lot accident where it's kind of like you take care of yours and they take care of mine, and even though they're the ones that backed into you, if your company paid out on your behalf, most of the time that's triggered and considered an at-fault accident, even though there was not a ticket issued. Huh. And then you're probably going to have a surcharge and pay more.
What about, and if you don't know, you don't know. What if I'm sitting at Publix, right? And I'm in there buying my lettuce, although I don't recommend lettuce right now, because that is E. coli or
Romaine.
something. Yeah, I'm buying cabbage, not romaine right now. So I'm in
Spinach.
Publix and I come out and boom, there's a huge dent in my bumper, right? So I call you or I call my carrier and say, look, I was in Publix buying cabbage and I came out and I have a huge dent in my bumper. How does that affect my rate?
That one is sometimes, most of the time, based on how much they pay. All carriers have hit you with a surcharge after they pay out a certain amount. Most of the time, it's around $1,500. So, if you're below that, then it won't affect you as far as extra cost. Most of the time, they will also look at the circumstances of the claim. That one probably wouldn't affect you down the road either because you weren't in the vehicle, even though they paid out. It shouldn't be as adverse as if there was, a collision.
All right, so I'm in Publix buying cabbage, come out, bumpers completely mashed in, right? What is the typical deductible? Because I have to go through my head, like, is it better for me to just go pay cash to some guy to fix this thing, or do I want to make a claim? What's the typical deductible, and should I make the claim or not make the claim? How do you make that decision?
Most policies now, people are going with at least a $500 deductible. Years past, you go down as even as low as 50, but most of the time it's 500. So, if it's entirely up to the insured or the client, but if it's a $600 claim, and you're only going to get $100 out of it because of that deductible, you really need to think about that one, because that does go against you as a claim. And if it's only one, it's normally not a big deal, but you start getting 3 of those in a row, now you've gotten yourself in a kind of a pickle.
And you maybe even call your broker. I mean, your broker's independent, right? So they're going to try to do what's best for you. So call Ray Powers of I Know Insurance before, if you need help making that decision. What if I call the 1-800 number for Progressive and I say, look, I had an accident. What should I do? Will they set up a claim then, or can you still say no? You
are pretty well stuck at that point. So they're going to set a claim up no matter what.
That's why you want an independent agent like Ray Powers, and you can ask him those questions. Should I file the claim or should I not file the claim? Because it's an important question, and it can affect your premium, which can be very expensive over the next few years. It's going to be dinged against you. Maybe, maybe not, right?
Right.
So earlier we talked about this example of you only have a 10-20 coverage, meaning if you injure someone else, your insurance company is only going to pay $10,000, or you have $100,000 in coverage, they'll cover you up to $100,000 if you injure someone else, right?
Correct.
But what if I'm driving down the street and someone rear ends me and they hit me and they only have $10,000 in coverage? My $100,000 in coverage does not cover me. That's only to cover the person I injured. So now I'm sitting here, if someone's idiot's driving down the street with no insurance and I get badly injured, I get zero from any insurance company whatsoever. But we have one little product that you can buy that covers against that protects you in case you are injured by someone who does not have insurance. And it's called coverage. Explain a little bit to me, Ray.
Uninsured Motorist is designed exactly for what you described. It is really broad. It covers, if you can't work. It covers pain and suffering. I mean, it's everything that you, as the one that was hit by that other person, might be dealing with. And you're correct. If you don't have it, then there is a little bit. It's under personal injury protection. But once that's capped out at most of the time $10,000, you got nothing. So you're in a real pickle, especially if you got your health insurance. People are told sometimes, well, if you got
what's a typical policy I can buy? I mean, how much can I buy in coverage?
You start at the limits that you have. For instance, if you have a 25-50 policy, in other words, $25,000 per person for the other party, then you can purchase 25-50 for yourself. And it's tied to, you can't go below what you're covering the other party for. So you can start at that and then, make adjustments.
All right, so let's say I have 100-300, right? So on my BI coverage, bodily injury coverage, I have 100,000-300, meaning if I injure someone else in an accident, my insurance company will cover me up to 100,000 per person or 300 per accident. So now I'm going to buy 100-300 on the policy.
Correct.
This is obviously going to add premium to my vehicle policy, but how much typically? I mean, is this a huge number or is this relatively inexpensive? Can you help me understand how much it's going to cost me?
It's not, people think it's going to triple my cost of my car insurance. That's not the case. It will go up some. Again, it's based on a lot, the type vehicle and where location and all that. But it's not, normally it's not cost prohibitive to at least have something on there for uninsured motorists. Again, on my own, I don't think, for me to have 5,100 limits. I probably should have more myself, but I mean, it's like another $50 every 6 months. So
it's
not much.
nothing. I mean, you're talking about $5 a month or something unbelievable. Buy coverage, ladies and gentlemen. Buy an umbrella policy and buy coverage. You will not regret it if something bad happens, I assure you. Let's quickly talk about home insurance. So this is always confusing to people because I own a house, right? And I know exactly what my mortgage payment is. My mortgage payment is, say, $2,000 a month. PITI, right? PITI, the old fancy slogan there for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. But I don't look at that. I don't know how much I'm paying per month for insurance. I just know it's $2,000 total. I don't shop it around. I just know it's $2,000 total. I don't know where it goes. I don't even know how it goes from the mortgage company to the insurance company. I don't know how this works. I just know I have to pay $2,000 a month, and I'm cool with that. But then it goes up a little bit every year. I mean, why is it going up every year? I don't quite understand this. Explain how an insurance policy for a home is sort of wrapped into the mortgage payment.
Well, the insurance when there's a mortgage attached to the home most of the time they want to be billed for the insurance, and it's included in escrow. And primarily, I get the real reason they make sure the insurance policy is paid. But when there's all of these other expenses included in it, you can get lax and not really want to shop your home insurance. And, that can, what I've seen is people tend to think if it's going up that it may actually be something like property tax. When in reality, it could be your homeowner's insurance. And, if you don't pay attention to it, it can get expensive, and you really should try to look at doing something about it.
Does the mortgage company select the insurance policy, or do I have the right to select it?
No, you absolutely have the right to select it. It's your choice. And even if it's already been paid to the mortgage company, there are ways that you can get a less expensive or change carriers even after the fact.
Let's say I'm driving down the street right now, listening to Behind the Law with Justin Clark on Bud 94.1, and I'm thinking in my head, well, my mortgage payment was $2,000, now it's $2,200 a month. I wonder why it went up. Maybe it's that insurance policy. Is this something that if I called you, can you look into that for me and see what the rate is and see if you can get better?
Absolutely.
All right. How do people reach out to you?
352-483-9351.
So let's say that the insurance policy is now $3,000 a month. I had no idea that it was $3,000 a month, right? But you can get it down to $1,800.
Right.
Does that lower my mortgage payment then?
Yes, absolutely. It will lower it because they factor that in your escrow account once a year, and it'll adjust the escrow down.
This is a big expense. Look, if you have any questions about insurance, please reach out to my good friend Ray Powers of I Know We Insurance, iknowweinsurance.com. Phone number one more time.
352-483-9351.
For Skid and my good friend Orlando radio legend Mick Dillon, my name is Justin Clark. And Mick, I don't know a whole lot, but I do know one little thing.
What's that?
I will see you right back here next Saturday on Bud 94.1.